So Haaland's come in, Simon, but it's actually United who have spent more money on new signings than
Yes.
City.
Yeah.
1.4 billion compared to 1.38 billion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, over the duration of the time that's passed since Alex Ferguson's left, there's no doubt about who spent more money. Because it's been regularly established at Manchester United. That's when the argument comes out about the Glazers' contribution. I mean, Manchester City are a very good side, and I don't need to wax lyrical about how good a side they are, but they would like to play Man United every week if that's how Man United are going to play against Man City, because I thought that Man United were very poor, and I very much liked the interview that Ten Hag gave afterwards. I noticed that his suit was fitting him well, but I liked the
He's been listening to you.
No, the interview that he gave, because it was very blunt and very honest and very open. And I was going to ask Graeme about Haaland, because it's one thing Haaland being an irresistible force. Somewhere along the line, defenders have got to be immovable objects. At what point do you think defenders are going to start defending a little bit better against this guy? Is it simply because he's so good that they can't defend it? Or is it because they are simply not adjusting themselves to a real live centre-forward that is capable of doing what he's doing?
Well, I think he won't have such an easy time every time he plays against Man United going forward. I mean, they were not very good. They couldn't deal with him. But what happens with top players, Simon, top players, the reason they're top players, you can set out a formation, you can double up on them, you can set traps for them, but they quickly realise what you're trying to do to
and they work it out,
and they work out without any words from the bench, any words from the manager. And I think Haaland, if you're playing against Haaland, you're thinking, I can't be quicker than him, I can't get in a race with him, he's stronger than me, he's going to be better in the air than me, and he's playing in a team that he will get chance after chance after chance.
Which is more difficult, to be destructive or creative? Because I always thought
to be creative. So I mean, that's why strikers historically go for the most money, get paid the most money.
So why can't someone work out the formula to be more destructive and break up the creativity and the output that Haaland is bringing to the game?
Well, you're not just stopping him. That's my point. Yeah. That the City have so much of the ball, and they play in your half for most of the game, and he's got. Remember, he's 22 years old. He's 22. Yeah. He's got such clever movement.
Yeah, you've got to stop the supply to him, haven't you?
What did you think about your dance partner, Jack Grealish?
I thought he had a really good first half. I thought he did. I thought he had a really good first half. And I'm still waiting for the invitation, Jack. My choice of restaurant, I choose the wines, and you pick the tab up. But so, can I just go I think Guardiola would have had a go at his team at the end of the game, because they were sloppy. They were sloppy. As good as they were, for most of the game, they were sloppy. To concede 3 goals against that Man United team totally flatters Man United. Absolutely. Man United were not at the races yesterday. And I think it's a mark. I think, going back to your very first question, I think it shows the gulf between the two teams in Manchester.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. But I have to say this, City are a very special team. Normally, when you're making substitutions, you're bringing on an inferior player. I think City, if you take out, well, certainly Haaland comes into it now, De Bruyne is certainly that, and the goalkeeper. I think when you're replacing a player at City now, it's more or less like for like.
Yeah.
And I think Foden is creeping into that group as well.
What was going on with Ronaldo then, do you think, Graeme? Ronaldo, a lot has been made of the fact he was there, didn't get a kick at it, didn't come off the bench. Roy Keane, as you will know, said that he thinks United are showing disrespect to Ronaldo. I think he should have been let go before the closing of the window.
Yeah, I don't see why. I mean, Ronaldo has an argument. He can sit, I've said this to you before, he can sit with any group of players in the history of the game. If they were still alive, he could sit in any room with any of them and say, I think I've been the best player ever. He has an argument for that. Mm-hmm. So the disrespect they're showing him now, I don't see the point in going through the aggravation which they have done and making him stay to not use him.
Well, Ten Hag said it would have been disrespectful.
It's disrespectful not to use him.
Because of everything he's achieved in the game.
I don't buy that. It's a bit. I think you're showing more disrespect by not using him, because then you're saying, listen, I'm putting Martial on.
But Martial came off the bench, but how does Ten Hag square a circle of a group of players when they're winning games, changing the team? We're winning games. I'm building a relationship with the players. We've won games. We're going into this game with a bunch of games won to us.
Have they been that impressive?
No, they haven't. But what does he do with Marcus Rashford? Marcus Rashford is the future. Marcus Rashford is somebody that clearly needs to be redeveloped and recalibrated because he's lost away a little bit. You keep giving him a run. If you put Ronaldo in front of him and a winning team that Marcus Rashford has been contributing to, doesn't that hurt the dynamic?
I think that you know as well as I do, time is not your friend in football. You have to be winning games today. It's not about waiting for Marcus Rashford to become the player that most people think he can be. It's not about giving Martial, because of his age, a place in the team in front of Ronaldo. It's about today in football.
If you'd been Ten Hag, would you have played Ronaldo?
I would have played Ronaldo
from the start.
I still think. See, I think that Ronaldo, when they got him, I thought that's a smart move, because they were rudderless, and their dressing room, United, were rudderless. There was no young players in that dressing room could say.
You said this time last year.
Could say, I want to be like him in 10 years' time. So I think you get Ronaldo, but you make the point to Ronaldo, you won't be starting every game.
But that's probably that's the point they probably made. There's 2 points that I don't necessarily concur with you on, and I'll have the audacity to advance them. The first one is that he's being disrespected, right? Because you're a contractual player that signed a contract with somebody, and Roy Keane's argument he should have been let go in the summer is an argument that perhaps explains why Roy Keane isn't the manager. And as a pundit now, great player, had the same argument when he left Man United. He was disrespected because Ferguson felt that he'd run his time. It's not disrespect, it's just a contractual obligation or a contractual opportunity. The other argument that I was going to advance, which I've completely gone out of my mind now. No, my argument was about you talked about Ronaldo playing against superior opposition and finding it difficult when he played against the Man Cities and Liverpools of the world, right? And he wouldn't be as impacted.
But what's the choice?
So here we are now saying that we should be playing him against Man City, which was the polar opposite of your argument last year.
Yeah, but because Martial, he's had more chances.
Oh no, he's a dog with fleas as far as I'm concerned.
So you put him on in front of. So that takes part of your argument. Marcus Rashford, when he got into the team as a young player, he's the real deal. Yeah. He stood still.
No, he's gone miles away.
And if you were asking me today, next week, big game, for all his shortcomings, Ronaldo. For all his shortcomings,
phone on at 4-0.
For his shortcomings, I would have played him. I would have played him in front of.
How would you
Rashford.
feel as a top player? You said I've never been on the bench, but how would you feel being thrown on at 4-0, getting your backside kicked by Man City, getting passed around?
I would have been asking to be on before 4-0. I think it was screaming out. Man United were so disappointing yesterday. Yeah. They really were. Yeah, if you were going to pick an 11 from the 22 that started the game, it's all Man City. You're playing Man City's team. There wasn't
Actually, can you get your take on that? United fans, what's your take? A, on the defeat and the nature of it, but B, on the situation with Ronaldo. Should he have featured at some stage? You would think probably yes. At 4-0, he might not have made any difference whatsoever, but he might get a goal or two.
I can tell you what the player would say. He'd rather be on the pitch. I mean, if he's being disrespectful.
The way they were getting battered, the way they were getting passed around and humiliated, he'd rather been amongst that, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay. I think players want to play. I mean, you've seen it on his face. And the camera went to him several times. Ronaldo was a real deal.
Absolutely, no doubt of that.
This all would have stopped, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.